Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Quest and Dialog system in Godot 4 and GDScript. In this video, we will finally test our system after many videos of pure coding, and we will see if our Quest and Dialog actually works. Let me not bore you with too much talk, so let's open up our project and get started. Now, if we look at our main scene, we currently have two NPCs that we've instanced, and we have one quest item. I'm going to make sure that I gave each of my NPCs an ID that correlates to their dialogue data, and that each of them have a name. If both of them have an NPC ID and both of them have a name, we can move on to our quest item. Now, I'm going to instance two quest items in my scene. The first one should be a potion item with a quantity of 10, meaning if my player picks it up, 10 potions will be added to their inventory. And the second item should be a key item, and it should have a quantity of 1. I just wanted you to note that you don't need an inventory system for this to work, as the item quantity is being tracked in our quest system. Okay, so now we have two quest items and two NPCs. Let's select our first NPC and give them a quest. This quest should have two objectives so that we can actually test if our system works. The first objective should be a talk to type objective, and it should require us to talk to NPC 2. The second objective should be the collection type objective, and it should require us to pick up 5 potion items. I only realize now that I never gave my quest a description. So in our quest resource component, add a quest description variable. We already populated our quest UI with the quest description, we just never actually created the variable in the quest, which is quite embarrassing. I'm sorry about that. I will start off by giving my quest a unique ID, name, and description. We will leave the quest state as is because the system will update the quest. We don't need to be playing around with this variable. So for the unlock ID, we need to give it the branch ID from our dialog data that we want this quest to become available at. So for me, I want this quest to be available when we first talk to NPC, so during our first branch. So because I want to do this, I can just leave it empty. But if I want it to be at a specific branch, say the second branch or the default branch, then I will pass that branch ID into this unlock ID. So let's give our quest some objectives. Remember, we need to give it 2 objectives, so underneath your objectives array, add 2 elements. To each element, add a new objective resource. In our first objective, we will need to give it a unique ID and description. We will leave the isCompleted boolean unchecked because our objective is obviously not yet complete. Then we will need to pass the target ID and type to the objective. Remember, the target ID is the entity that we need to interact with, and the type is the objective type. In our case, the target ID for our first objective should be the ID of our second NPC, and the type should be talk to since we want to talk to NPC2. And then since it's not a collection objective, we don't need to worry about the required and collected quantity, but we do need to worry about the objective dialog, which is what NPC2 will say to us when we go and talk to them. So let's change the text to something like, "The potions can be found on the west side of the valley." And there we have our first objective complete. So from this objective, we can see that we need to go and talk to Cactus Joe, which is NPC2. And then when we talk to him, he's supposed to say, "The potions can be found on the west side of the valley." Now, our second objective should be a collection objective, since this is the objective where we have to collect the magical potions on the west side of the valley. So, just like before, we'll give it an ID and a description. The target ID should be our item ID, which is the item that we just added to our scene. Now I gave my potion item an ID of item underscore potion, and since its quantity is 10, we will only need to pick up one of these items to fulfill our objective. Okay, now we just need to give our quest a reward. When we have completed the quest, we will give our player 50 coins. And there we have our first quest created. Let's go over this quest again. So we'll need to talk to NPC1 to receive this quest, and this quest will be available from the very first branch of the dialog, hence we left the unlock ID empty. Now, this quest is composed of two objectives. The first objective requires us to talk to NPC2, and the second objective is requiring us to collect 5 potions. After we've completed the quest, we will receive 50 coins. Let's also give our NPC2 a quest. I'm going to give them a simple talk to quest where we have to talk to the first NPC. And this quest should be available in the default branch. So we'll first have to talk to the NPC up until we get to the end of their dialogue tree to be able to receive this quest. Okay, so as you can see from this quest that I've given my second NPC, we need to talk to Bobby Joe to find out if he sold the rotten wood. So my target ID is NPC1 and my target type is talk2. When I talk to NPC1, he should say, no, I ate it. And once that is done, I should receive 5 coins as a reward. Let's test to see if this works. When we talk to our NPC, we should be able to go through their dialogue branches as per usual, but if we choose the option to receive quests, they should be able to give us the quests that are available at that branch. If we've never accepted a quest at that branch, it should still be provided to us in the next or default branch. If we interact with a quest item that is not needed by an active quest, such as our key, we should not be able to pick it up. We should also check to see if our tracker and UI updates if we add, remove, and select a quest. It should also update when we complete objectives. I'm also sorry, I was mistaken. My unlock ID has to be my first branch ID. Otherwise, if you leave it empty, it will actually only give the quest to you once you reach the default branch. So let's pass the ID of our first branch to our unlock ID on our first NPC. Now let's go and test this out. Okay, so as you can see from our test, our Quest and Dialog system works. But I did see a couple of things that I do want to fix. The first thing is our coin amount. I just want to move it a little bit more into the center and not have it hang on the right-hand side so much. The other thing that I noticed is if we are currently done with a quest and no active quest is available, our quest tracker details and our quest log details are still showing. So to fix this, we'll just need to add one simple line of code in both our player and our Quest UI scripts, and that is to set our selected quest as null by default whenever our quest and objective has been updated. So in your onQuestUpdated and onObjectiveUpdated functions, add the code selectedQuest equals null at the end. You can see I did it here in my player script and in my Quest UI script. Okay, now let's test if our coin amount looks better and if our quest tracker and log actually clears if we have no quest selected. And there you have it. You now have a pretty good base for your game's Quest and Dialog system. It is up to you now to take this further and extend it as much as you like. I want to give you a big congratulations and a thank you for getting this far and actually sticking it out throughout the series. I know we did a lot more coding than visuals in this one, but I'm glad you made it this far. If you have an idea for another video or series or just tutorial that you would like to see, please let me know on your ideas in the comments below, because I really do look forward to hearing your thoughts and feedback. But finally, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.